Okay, so now I'm going to go over another example to hone this in. So, coming back to our idea of the function, the relationship, okay? Now let's set other kinds of variables for x and y, okay? Now let's say your x, what you're inputting is time. I know this sounds really weird, but basically what you're changing, the thing that's changing is the time that you're spending in a certain action. So, well, let me first explain the situation. You're walking home, you're this little person, and you're walking towards your house from the supermarket, okay? You're in the supermarket. Then, you want to measure, depending on how long you spent walking home, which distance have you traveled? So, your inputs is how long you've walked, and your output is the distance that you're traveling. And then, we can illustrate this relationship using a function. So let's say for every 1 minute you walked, you traveled 4 meters. Let's say you're really slow. Every minute walk, you walk 4 minutes. So the relationship you create is, so your distance, the way to get your distance based on your time is getting your time, x, and multiplying it by 4, right? Because when your distance will always be 4 times as much as your time, because for every 1 minute you travel 4. We're gonna see with some examples. So let's say this is our function, right? And then that means when we walk 1 meter, when we walk for 1 minute, that means x equals 1. Our y will be 1 times 4. Our y will be 4 meters, right? When we walk, let's say 3 meters for 3 minutes, which means x equals 3, our y will be 3 times 4, and we will have traveled 4 meters. And now, let's make a graph to illustrate this. Sorry for my graph. Okay. Right, so this is our point 0. Here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is our x. In other words, our time in minutes, just to be clear. And this is our y. Ooh, I might have to make it higher. Wait. Let me make it bigger. This is our y. In other words, the distance. Okay? In meters. So, what we've shown here is that when we walk for 1 minute, being here, we walk 4 meters. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we will walk 4 meters. So one of our points is right here. Now, let's say, oh, this is not going to fit. So let's say instead we have walked 2 minutes, when x equals 2, y equals 2 times 4, y equals 8. And so, since when x equals 2, y equals 8, that is our second point of our function. Now, with 2 points, you can already make your graph. And this will be your line showing the relationship between the time that you've traveled and the distance. And this way you can know, if you continue this graph on, exactly how much you would have walked in different times, right? And you can even take a point between. If you walked for 1.5, then the distance you traveled would be this point. You see, you would have walked 6. And you can try this out with the function check. But basically, this is just to show that you can put anything for your inputs, anything for your outputs. And what the function does is basically illustrates a certain relationship, okay? So that's it. Oh yeah, and some important notes as well. Functions can be written in different ways. Another way to represent a function instead of y equals a certain x plus 4, with our first example, it could be written as fx equals x plus 4. And this would be what represents your output, okay? And something else, oh yeah, and something else important is to talk about the intercepts. So I'm actually going to show another example to talk about the intercepts. The intercepts are basically thinking about when your line, your graph, crosses one of its axes, okay? So let's say you had the function y equals x plus 4. Let's say you had that function. Forget this for a second. Let's say you're going home as well, but for every minute you walk, you are 4 meters more than the time in minutes. And this kind of hard to explain, and actually that's going to be left to another video. Thank you for watching. In our next video I'm going to explain intercepts as well as slope for just explain to you guys how those work in especially linear functions, okay? So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment or send us an email. Thank you.